For any mother, her child's wedding is a moment that makes all the hardships of parenting feel worthwhile. But I was denied the chance to experience that moment by my own son.
We're having the ceremony, but you don't need to come. We can't have someone as obviously poor as you sitting in the family section. It's embarrassing.
Where did the sweet little boy from years ago disappear to? Hearing my son's thoughtless words, I decided not to attend the wedding as he wanted. Little did I know what this would lead to. My name is Alethea, and I'm 55 years old this year. My husband passed away 10 years ago, and since then, I have been raising our son Roswell all by myself. Being a single mom, I didn't want Roswell to ever feel disadvantaged. I vowed to ensure Roswell's happiness, dedicating all my time and effort to him. While juggling housework and a part-time job to make ends meet, I managed to put Roswell through college. Perhaps because he saw my struggles up close. Roswell grew up to be a kind boy who would help with chores when I was busy.
Mom, thank you for letting me go to college.
Hearing these words from Roswell made all my hardships disappear. I thought I hadn't made a mistake in my parenting, but as soon as he started attending college, Roswell began to change. Influenced by his college friends, he started staying out late at night, and there were even days when he didn't come home at all. And that wasn't all. When he ran out of money for his outings, he started demanding money from me. When I voiced my concern and refused, he snapped back with insults I had never heard before, calling me a useless old hag. Roswell had changed completely. Soon enough, he entered his senior year and started job hunting. But after being rejected by the first few companies, he fell into despair. Even when I encouraged him to keep trying at other companies, he would shout back,
"What's the point? No matter how hard I try, nobody's going to hire me."
"What do you mean?"
A son from a poor single mom household like me is weeded out at the resume stage.
It seemed Roswell had been persuaded by his college buddies that he was rejected from the job because he was the son of a poor single mother. Of course, no reputable company would make such a decision, but no matter what I said, Roswell would believe his friends and had given up on himself. Eventually, he managed to land a job at a small company through the introduction of his college friends, but that only worsened our relationship. Roswell believed that I, his mother, was the one who hindered his employment and everything was my fault. He saw his college friends who sympathized with his struggles and helped him find a job as his allies and people he needed in his life. This became his reality. Despite starting his job, he continued hanging out with his college friends and our relationship remained irreparable. A few years passed and the only time Roswell would talk to me was when he needed money. One day, unusually, Roswell started a conversation with me.
"I've decided to get married."
I couldn't hide my joy at the sudden news. "Congratulations! What's she like? When's the wedding?" Barely glancing at my joyful expression, Roswell responded curtly.
"She's a friend from college."
What he said next left me in disbelief.
"We're having a ceremony, but you don't need to come."
What?
She said it would be embarrassing to have someone like you, who obviously looks poor, sitting in the family section.
Not being able to attend my own son's wedding? Oh, what a ridiculous thought. I tried desperately to persuade him, but Roswell insisted.
She doesn't want you there.
And wouldn't budge an inch. He wouldn't listen at all. It's terrible that I can't see my only son, whom I've worked so hard to raise, on his special day.
Stop nagging. I wish I was born into a normal family. Your struggles are your own fault, right? I don't care about your hardships.
He was just being led astray by his bad friends. Russell was truly a good kid. At least, that's what I had always believed until I heard him hurling those insults. Something in me broke. All right. I told Roswell I wouldn't go to the wedding. Knowing I had given up, Roswell seemed relieved and happily went on with the wedding preparations.
Hey, Eleanor, I just sent the guest list. Huh? Oh, my mom? Of course, she's not coming. She made a fuss at first, but I convinced her for your sake.
Even hearing Roswell report this to his bride over the phone, I felt nothing anymore. The boy was no longer the Roswell I knew. I had accepted that. When the day of Roswell's wedding arrived, I spent it like any other, just sending a congratulatory message. It was then that Roswell called me.
Mom, you need to come now.
What? What are you talking about? You're the one who told me not to come.
The situation has changed.
Apparently, Roswell and his bride had told the guests that I, his mother, had passed away just like his father. And then they received my message. The moment it was read out loud, the venue must have erupted in confusion. After all, they had received a message from a mother who was supposed to be dead. Just like that, Roswell's lie was exposed. People in attendance told him it was unthinkable not to invite one's real mother to a wedding. I was told the situation wouldn't settle down unless I went.
Mom, we need you there. I know it's a lot to ask, but if you still see me as your son, would you come and see me at my wedding?
Roswell's words humbled at the end, stirring something in me. I thought this might be my last duty as a mother, so I decided to honor Roswell's request. When I arrived at the entrance of the venue, Roswell, who had come to pick me up, ran towards me.
Mom, you came. Thank you.
It felt like a long time since I had heard Roswell's sincere voice. While Roswell seemed genuinely apologetic, his fiancée, Eleanor, looked displeased. Why did you send that message? Was it harassment? We had neatly squared away that my mother-in-law was dead, but you have ruined it. Eleanor seemed to believe that I was to blame for everything that had gone wrong. I was disappointed in Roswell's choice for a spouse, reflecting on his poor judgment.
Easy, Eleanor. We were wrong to lie in the first place. Everyone at the ceremony should be satisfied now. Let's just get going.
So now, even you, Roswell, are saying that my plan was wrong? If your mother hadn't sent out that message, nobody would have doubted that she was dead. Mother-in-law, please don't say anything unnecessary. Any embarrassing stories about hardships or poverty reflect poorly on me and Roswell. We invited you to the wedding reluctantly. But don't think this means we'll have a parent-child relationship from now on. After the wedding, please stay out of me and Roswell's life. Understand?
Eleanor.
I was curious about what Roswell seemed to want to say, but I had been prepared to cut ties with him since the moment he verbally attacked me. Just like Eleanor said, I attended the ceremony with the mindset that this would be the last time I would see Roswell and Eleanor. Understood. I promise. Eleanor seemed relieved at my words and deliberately hooked her arm through mine to enter the venue. I'll play the part of the loving mother for now. Keep this as a good memory and live lonely from tomorrow, okay? As I entered the venue with Eleanor, the attendees immediately rushed over to us. Everyone, sorry to keep you waiting. Mother-in-law was shy and wouldn't come, so we had to go and fetch her. Ignoring the smug Eleanor, the attendees started to talk to me one after another.
Alethea, I knew it was you.
So glad to see you here. We really owe you one from this. When you have some free time, please help us again. Eleanor, who had been ignored, and Roswell, who was watching next to her, were at a loss, not understanding what was happening. Though a bit surprised, I responded to everyone's words. I never thought I'd have the chance to meet all of you at my son's wedding, I said. The guests at the ceremony were all senior executives from Eleanor's company, all of whom I have worked with in the past. Up until now, I hadn't told Roswell much about my work. Before retiring upon his marriage, I worked in the secretarial office of a well-known company. Due to my experience as a secretary there when my husband passed away and I was looking for part-time work, an executive from a major company that I had previously worked with asked me if I could work as a secretary again. I was offered a full-time contract, but I wanted to prioritize being Roswell's mother, so I requested a part-time contract in case anything happened to Roswell. Thanks to the flexible hours, I was able to juggle multiple jobs at different companies, which was convenient for me. A secretary who can grasp all the tasks like Alethea is hard to come by.
Having Alethea's support made our work so much easier.
Roswell and Eleanor looked at the executives praising me with wide-eyed wonder.
Mom, you're such an amazing person.
Roswell murmured, looking at me with admiration.
If Aletheia's son is anything like her, he would be a great addition to our company.
That's the son Alethea prioritized over work, and he had chosen Eleanor as his partner?
We should give a pat on the back to whoever hired Eleanor.
The conversation started turning towards Roswell and Eleanor. Eleanor, you applied to be assigned to the secretarial office, right? Even if it was before your marriage, did you greet Alethea? If you had observed Alethea closely, there must have been many things to learn, right? Yes, of course. My mother-in-law is wonderful, and I always admire her, Eleanor said, trying to get close to me. I gently pushed Eleanor away and told her, "But our mother-son relationship ends today." "What do you mean?" the executives asked with puzzled expressions. "Oh, what are you saying, mother-in-law?" "Oh, just what you told me earlier." I played back the recording I had secretly made of Eleanor's comments before entering the venue. "You're saying my plan went wrong? If you hadn't sent that message, no one would have suspected that you were dead, Mom. I'm telling you, mother-in-law, don't say anything unnecessary. Roswell and I are the ones who feel embarrassed when you tell your hard luck or poverty stories. We invited you to the wedding reluctantly. Don't expect us to build a parent-child relationship from now on. After the wedding, don't interfere with Roswell and me, understand? We'll pretend to be a happy family just for today. With your last good memories, you can live alone from tomorrow." The executives were speechless after hearing Eleanor's comments. "So this is Eleanor's true nature. That's terrible. So Eleanor was the one who planned to pretend Alethea was dead?" "That's not true." No matter what Eleanor said now, it was too late. "I don't want you to call yourself an employee of our company, let alone work in the secretarial office." "I agree." Eleanor's parents rushed over as they heard the unusual commotion. "Eleanor!" The executive started laying into Eleanor's parents this time. "What kind of values have you been teaching your daughter? Did you know she would go as far as lying about the death of the very parents she owes so much to avoid inviting them?" Eleanor's parents, who also have a professional relationship with the executive, swiftly threw Eleanor under the bus. This was all our daughter's doing? We are victims too. We have had enough of her causing us trouble. We have been thinking about cutting ties with her after this wedding." Eleanor was taken aback by her parents' sudden announcement. "Dad, you're abandoning me?" "After seeing how you treated Roswell's mother, it's clear you lack any gratitude towards your parents. We don't remember raising such a daughter." It seemed Eleanor's parents were adamant. Eleanor was desperate to find a way out of this predicament. "I did nothing wrong. Roswell told me to do everything." She ended up blaming everything on Roswell, which was the worst possible outcome. The decision to not invite me to the ceremony was initially made by Eleanor, not Roswell. Knowing this, I impulsively tried to defend Roswell, but he gently stopped me. "It's my responsibility." "Roswell?" "Mom, it's okay. I should know better than anyone how hard you've worked. Yet I agreed not to invite you. That's a fact. I share the blame." His words conveyed sincerity. Perhaps the executives felt the same way as I did. "Roswell, what you did indeed disrespects your mother's sacrifices, but you're regretting it now, aren't you?" Encouraged by one of the executives, Roswell spoke hesitantly. "Yes, I can't erase the harsh words I said to my mother or what I've done. But from now on, I won't forget this regret and I want to make it up to her." The executives nodded slowly after hearing Roswell's words. "People make mistakes, but if they are acknowledged, they can start over. But Eleanor has only tried to dodge responsibility till the very end. She shows no signs of remorse. There's no room for growth that way." No. Upon hearing the executive's words, Eleanor went pale. "Let's give Eleanor a chance to grow. We'll transfer you to a different department." "What? Wait, are you sending me to the secretarial office?" Eleanor, who briefly lit up with hope, hung her head at the executive's next words. "Of course not. You'll be transferred to a branch on a remote island." "A remote island?" "Working in nature, away from the city. You'll probably learn to appreciate people by experiencing the warmth of the islanders." "That's ridiculous." Working on a remote island might sound nice, but in reality, it's nothing more than a demotion. Upon hearing of the transfer, Eleanor's parents turned to Roswell. "Roswell, would you consider breaking up with our daughter? At this rate, she might run away from the island and insist on being a housewife."
We don't want her to cause you any more trouble until she grows as a person.
Roswell, too, I reckon, had his doubts about continuing his marriage with Eleanor. When her parents proposed divorce, he made up his mind. Eleanor, of course, was vehemently opposed, but with the backing of both parents and board members, she finally, albeit reluctantly, signed the divorce papers. Divorced from Roswell and ousted from her home, Eleanor took up a job on a remote island. However, after just a month, she couldn't take it anymore and abandoned her work to flee back home. Now jobless, Eleanor had to take up multiple part-time gigs just to pay the bills, wearing herself thin in the process. Meanwhile, Roswell, through a connection he made at the wedding, managed to land a job at a major corporation. Meeting many new people in this new environment, he started to see how naive and selfish his old university friends had been. So he cut ties with them and returned home. Nowadays, he's back to his old self, caring for me as he used to. Even more so, we're living a tranquil life, just the two of us.